Okay, I don't want to say it's being vulnerable, but it's definitely not being afraid to put out what is challenging you today as a question of the week to Dan. Dan, you're getting some good ones. Tell us about the question that you got this week.
This question, Rob, I got 3 questions in email. I jumped on a call after the podcast aired on Thursday last week.
Yeah.
Somebody said, hey, I just power listened to 5 of your podcasts.
Nice.
And I'd love to chat with you. I sent them a calendar link and we had a great conversation on Saturday morning. It was 7:30 his time, 8:30 my time. And we had a really great conversation and I answered that question. And so I didn't pick one of the other questions that came. I took this question that came directly from a retailer in a conversation I was having with her.
Okay.
And it's a retailer in Ponoka, Alberta, who's struggling with everything she needs to do and all the hats she has to wear. And let's remember, we talked about that with Katie Huber and Rusty Lily. You know, she's doing everything. And that's really what's going on. And this retailer says to me, well, how am I supposed to get all of this done? I'm managing my store, my team, the buying, the social posts, the bills, the da-da. And I said, hey, hang on a second. This is all about time management. This is all about you needing a personal assistant. And this challenge, Rob, is synonymous with every solopreneur out there. They deal with this every day. And it comes down to how they manage their time. I've been there. I have been the worst operator. And a coach I was working with in early 2000 shared a system of personal organization with me that I still employ, I still utilize, and I coach it on a daily basis. And believe me, it's way easier today than it was 20 years ago to have a personal assistant.
A lot of amazing tools available today. Yeah.
And I know, I say even to my own team, I don't ever want to hear I don't have time. Capacity is something that we build inside us. Capacity is about how we prioritize things. And Rick Stark was the CEO of Profit Systems at this back in 2000. And I believed wholeheartedly in coaching and consulting back then. And we employed their coaching services, and they provided us our point of sale technology, our retail coaching, our sales coaching. And I worked closely with Lee Rochelle, who was sort of our data inventory consultant, operational type consultant, and a woman named Tony Lester, who we worked hard with on our selling system and creating our own documented selling system. And their CEO, Rick Stark was his name, said to me one time at a buying show, man, you're a poster child for somebody that can get shit done, but nobody likes you. You know, you're frazzled, you're all over the place, and I wasn't a poster child for getting stuff done. I was a great procrastinator. And maybe on the surface, it looked like things were running tickety-boo, but they weren't. Yeah. Things weren't getting done. It was because I sucked at time management. And he said to me, Dan, several years ago, someone shared this Porgy with me, this personal organization strategy with me, and I'd like to share it with you. I'm not going to charge you for it, but it's going to take some time from you. And you're going to need to give me that time. And I was all in. I was, up like this in the water, nose sometimes out of the water, most of the time underwater, barely surviving. And so I reached out to that lifeline. And Rick said to me, we're going to meet at 4 p.m. on Sundays. We're going to spend 45 minutes to an hour together, and we're going to get you organized. Well, it turns out 4 p.m. for him was 5 p.m. for me. So it was right at my dinner hour on Sunday afternoons. And I met with Rick for about 3 months every single Sunday. And the commitment I made to him was I will be there at 4 o'clock your time every Sunday. And the agreement was that if I wasn't there, the relationship ended and he stopped. And this is how it went. Rick taught me how to look forward in my week and plan out everything I had to do and diarize it, put it in a calendar. And when I say it was a whole lot easier, it's a whole lot easier now than 20 years ago. Now, everything goes into my calendar as an appointment. My podcast prep time is in my calendar as if it was an appointment. It's not a task. It's not a to-do. and everything. So for this retailer, I talked about the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by making a list of everything you do every single day for the next week.
Yeah.
We're going to write everything down, and right behind it, we're going to write down how much time you dedicated to that task. And then we're going to add on the bottom of the list, all the things you shouldn't have done, that you should have done, pardon me, that
Right.
you didn't do.
Okay.
And now we're going to build.
I have no time for.
Yeah, that I don't have time for. And it turns out when we start to go through that list, a lot of things are the same. And, being a guy that spent most of his life in that retail world, I loved being on the retail floor. But you know what that means when you walk out onto your floor? Nothing else gets done.
Yeah.
Nothing else gets done. And so I had to, with Rick's help, strategically plan when I was going to meet with a vendor, when I was going to be on the floor with staff, when I was going to have free time that I did whatever I wanted, when I was going to get my hair cut, when I was going to go and play golf. And he made me use a shared calendar that he could see, that all my staff could see. And, back in the day, we were just starting with, Microsoft with Outlook, which it wasn't Outlook back then, and Lotus 123. I mean, that was our spreadsheet products. And so, we were in Waterloo, Ontario, so we were BlackBerry users. We always had the first BlackBerry, the big black one that, was kind of like a DOS smartphone. It wasn't super smart, but it became my personal assistant. It told me when to do something and when I needed to be prepared to be somewhere. Nowadays, if I have to go to a client in Stony Plain and it takes me 30 minutes to get there, my reminder comes up and says 30 minutes before you need to leave for your appointment with Tracy. And this really is how we get so much done. And it seems like it's this block of structure, but it really is how entrepreneurs, how retail leaders need to operate their life. That doesn't mean they don't have freedom in their life. It means that they need to be better organized. Before you can ever let go of the vine and let someone else lead your team, you need to lead. And you lead people not by go as I say, but by go as I go. If you look like this, unorganized, ditzy, chasing squirrels all the time. If you look like my good friend Stan West, if your head's always in the clouds, this isn't going to work for you. You've got to have good structure. And that was one of the things, Stan West and I still have a very good relationship. He was the visionary in our business and I was the integrator. He dreamt up crazy stuff and I figured out how to make it happen. But it was because I learned how to structure my day. It doesn't mean I do less. I have more freedom today than I have ever had, but it's because I'm more structured, not because I work less.
You schedule that freedom, Dan?
100%, 100%. I schedule clarity breaks. We've talked about clarity breaks. I put a clarity break in my calendar. And I have this, and I don't expect everybody to work the way I do, but this is the habit that I employed. Rick taught me how to do that. He did it with me every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. my time, or 4 p.m. Central. I was Eastern time. And so he was always sort of an hour earlier than I was. And to this day, on Sundays, I lay out my calendar. And I shared with Terry, I have these 5 things that I do every Sunday morning, and it starts at 8 o'clock. Number 1 is pour a Bailey's and coffee. And I sit down and I consume a bit of news. I do a little social stuff, and then I knock off my Sunday morning to-dos, which is really aligning my calendar for the next week. And this happens even when I'm on vacation. It's what I do. Yeah. And it might be a whole week of nothing to do, but I look at my calendar every Sunday morning and look what the week has in store for me. And I move things, I adjust things. I work with clients on a calendarized basis. Their time is way more valuable than my time. And so nothing is ever left to chance. I say I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock. I'm there at 5 to 7, even when they show up at 5 after 7. I respect that they're dealing with all kinds of things. And here I sit today in front of the screen waiting for them. Right? but it's the structure that allows us to get things done. Forever, business coaches have said you cannot teach time management. Time management is something that's inherent in someone, their abilities, and it's just not true.
Yeah.
You can use tools to become a much better time manager. And I'm going to say, for any retailer out there that is struggling with time management, that's struggling with the ta-da, just spend 15 minutes with me on the phone, and I will help you. No, just go on my calendar and book me. Send an email to dan@thewealthyretailer.com, and I will give you a little bit of guidance to help you. Let's get rid of the 5 different emails you have. There should be one place for communication to come and go. And every one of your team members should know where you are and when you should be bothered, when you shouldn't, what task you're working on. And it just simply means we're putting it on our calendar. And we build office time, task time in our calendar that allows us to have that fun stuff, that fun time on our store floors.
Yeah. I have a question. When Rick worked with you, and even the recent call you had, where do you start? Like, and honestly, is this a 40-hour work week? Is this no? We're dealing with the entrepreneur's 80-hour work week. What's your approach?
Well, Rob,
to that
when I was
trying to build structure into it,
when Rick offered this to me, I was probably working 60 hours a week.
Okay.
And I still work a lot, but
Yep.
I work differently now. I work smarter now than I ever did. And I am a bit of an early riser most days. So most days I'm at my desk, before the sun comes up. Even in Alberta, most days I'm at my desk before the sun comes up in the summertime. And I get a lot of things done before other people get going. But that also affords me the opportunity to enjoy the latter part of the day as I want to, whether that's on a store floor, hanging out with somebody, or playing golf. And it's because I've got my to-do list to done. And so how do we start? Again, it's about writing down everything that you do every day for a week and putting some time on it. And then taking that list and saying, okay, let's prioritize some things and start to lay out your calendar. In my calendar, Rob, you'll never see anything. There's exceptions to every rule, but I don't start my routine in my calendar before 8 o'clock in the morning. There are rare exceptions, not rare. There are exceptions for customers that I have that are on the East Coast that want to start their day with a meeting that I might meet with them at 6 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning. And so that's, every other week or so I end up with some of that, or, I'm going to go to a Rotary meeting, or, there's some things that happen in my calendar, but that's even in there. A Rotary meeting would be in my calendar. Going to dinner with friends would be in my calendar. Going camping on the weekend with my family is going to be in my calendar. The same way a dentist appointment or a haircut or, whatever. It's all in my calendar, and I build my life around that calendar. And I promise you, my personal assistant tells me what to do, when to do, and where to do, and it reminds me. It just means I'm accountable to my personal assistant. But guess who created it?
Yeah, accountable to your own plan. Yeah,
right. I've created that plan, and it doesn't mean, Rob, that there's not scalability and movability and adjustment, adaptability built inside it. That's why I look at it every Sunday morning, and every morning. I get a little Slack message with my day's events. And it's like, whoa, shit, I forgot I had to do that today.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to get that done. I got to find a better spot in my calendar.
Yeah.
It takes me an hour to get somewhere. I've got to plan that. And there'll be often times where I don't want to touch my phone when I'm driving. And not for the safety reasons, but that, I'm not going to talk on it. I'm going to take that as a bit of a clarity moment.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to put the music on loud, and it's just going to be me.
Nice. I love that point, and I would say what a great sales line too. Like, you'll be amazed at the freedom you will get by putting this type of structure into your life. So,
and Rob, at the time I was managing, a pretty big audience. We had 140 or 150 employees. There was a lot of shit going on, and I really needed that guidance at that time. And I'm not saying that to say that, you, the solo entrepreneur, doesn't need this. I'm saying if you struggle with your task list, with your getting your to-dos to done, let's talk about it. Let's talk about strategy. Ta-da!
Love it. Right on.
Bye.